getting clean off the rocks was rough. It was hard. It was hard like a rock. I do want to be a detective like Hayes. I'm gonna have a good, smooth sailing life. I'm not gonna get any disciplinary write-ups. I'm gonna be probably not eating as many burgers. Hello. I'm gonna be a better detective than both of them, than Bristol and Hayes combined. Be a littler detective than both of them. Hello. I could always run faster than them anyways, but you know, I just feel like it's gonna be smooth sailing for me, for Spanky, for Stephen Spanky. I might even give up on the nickname Spanky and just maybe I'll go by Steve. You know something about me is I like to do drugs. Doesn't matter if they're legal or illegal. I suppose it matters now because I care about the law. I am the law. I'm gonna have so much power, and I'm gonna feel good about having it and using it and wielding it and accumulating it.
Alright, you couple of jerk-offs. You have failed all the way down the line. You lost Stephen. You lost the robot. You lost Stephen again. The rocks are now missing from the evidence locker. My office, Monday morning, 7 a.m. You're going to meet with Dr. Lee. For the first time, the taxpayers and the mayor agree. Suspension without pay. And if your breath is all ketchup and pickles like it was last time, I'm just going to fire you on the spot. I'm done with this. I don't know where you two are living since the robot stole your car. But if you could possibly take a shower before Monday morning, before you meet with Dr. Lee, or at least splash some water in the bathroom at the local burger joint, that would at least be something. And my dear old grandma, she would be ashamed if she knew how I was involved with you people. She would think that it was below the dignity of an officer such as myself. What am I going to do with you people? You're below the dignity of a woman who pissed herself on a regular basis. One more thing. The mayor has told me to tell you that if one hair on Stephen's head has been harmed, he's going to see to it that you rot in prison for the rest of your natural lives. You people. Jesus.
The last thing I remember, I was at the Horseshoe drinking, and I woke up in Linden in a fucking chicken coop.
So you know why we brought you in?
To look into Bristol and Hayes?
Honestly, I'm through with these people. Stephen's gone, you know that, right?
Yeah.
We lost him, he's gone.
I heard about that.
I got these two detectives. They didn't do a thing. They just fuck around all day long, every day. So we want to get you in, they're going to report to you, we're going to build a case, we're going to get rid of them.
Sounds good, I can do that.
Look at their files, right? And would you agree? There's really no hope for these people.
Yeah, I don't see these guys making another fools.
But the main question for us is, where is Steve? I need somebody on the case who can actually get this guy back for us. Do you think it's possible for somebody to actually not only love a burger, but to be in love with a burger more than they could be in love with a woman?
In an extreme case.
Let's move on this. We got to get rid of them, and you're my ticket to get them out of here.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you.
Give me. Damn it. Give me a fucking second.
So, Lieutenant Bristol, tell me about Stephen, the mayor's son.
He's a punk-ass little fucker like most of us at that age. A little taste for rocks, a taste for ladies.
And you had a taste for rocks at his age?
Well, when I was his age, it was grass.
But you're off of that.
Is there going to be a blood test? Let's circle back.
Okay. Tell me about the robot.
Robot is fast. Very fast runner.
Fast.
Probably high school track star, maybe cross country.
Not just faster than you and Hayes.
Well, I don't. Faster is. What even is fast? What does it mean to be fast? Are we quick thinkers? Sure. If we need to pull over because we see some evidence, or maybe just need a quick burger, to get the blood sugar up.
Right, about that. By your reports, it seems that your diet is all burgers. Can you tell me about that? What do you mean by that?
My philosophy of police work is that you make mistakes on an empty stomach. So a full stomach is the foundation for interrogation and investigation.
Have you ever been too full?
There's been a time or two. I don't think it's ever interfered with our work. There was one time there was an all-you-can-eat buffet at the Skagit Casino. We work in the task force, meeting some other detectives from out of town, and we got to talking, and before you know it, it's pretty easy. One plate blends into another, and we did have to go to urgent care for a few hours, for the blockage and whatnot.
You said, use the phrase one plate blends into another. This might be a bit of a leap, but do you find any thread common in that with your marriage history?
Well, in a way, yeah. It's like another plate of food. It just sort of appears there. I don't always remember going to the line. I don't remember stacking the drumsticks up, and yet there they are. And love is that way too.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get here? How am I going through another Christmas alone?
Mm-hmm.
How do I have no money? How am I living in a squad car?
Right. Right.
Is that bad?
How do you feel about it?
Well, I'd certainly rather that a plate of drumsticks and burgers appeared right now than a new wife.
Is this a fixation in your life? Do you find yourself thinking about it when you should be doing other things?
Well, I think life is to be lived for enjoyment and justice. So, to me, the two are, you can't untangle them.
Okay.
Burgers, the beat,
You can't untangle them, but is there any priority given to one over the other? Enjoyment versus justice?
Well, it's pretty hard to enjoy a burger, if justice wasn't served that day.
All right.
But that's why it's so important to get a burger. Because if you're scrambled up in your brain and you're hungry and you shoot somebody, and then pretty soon you're in the station house getting interviewed by a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody wins. If you just had that burger, a life could have been saved, albeit to go to prison.
Is this scenario purely hypothetical? The concept of shooting someone because you're so jumbled from a lack of burgers. Is that hypothetical, or has that happened?
Well, I've been on the force a long time. Once I write up that report, once I wipe the barbecue out of my beard, I don't think about it. I don't know. I'd have to read through the old files.
You can't remember if you've shot someone because you were hungry. You can't remember whether that has happened or not.
I've been hungry.
Uh-huh.
I've shot someone.
Okay.
I don't know that the two are related necessarily, but I know that I've only shot people who deserved it when I've been full.
Okay.
Okay. So what's your deal, Doc?
My deal?
Yeah.
Police psychiatrist, quadruple doctorate.
Quadruple doctorate. How can you afford all that?
My family is quite well off.
Have you ever been the victim of a crime, Doc? Ever had your man purse stolen? ever had your window knocked out of your car? Found your boat sank over the weekend?
I have found my boat sank over the weekend, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
It's
Can you
fine.
tell? Did
Got
they
plenty of backups.
did they figure out what happened?
I don't recall. It
See,
wasn't a large concern to me.
it's not always easy to remember everything,
This
even
is
about
true.
things that matter.
This is true. This was one of my lesser boats. So
How many boats are we talking here?
currently, or at the time,
Now,
now, at least 23.
do you ever work out like a boat sitting sort of arrangement where somebody maybe lives on your boat for a few months, stays there, visits really, takes care of it?
We have
So-
caretakers, but what you're describing is more of a boat squatter. We don't.
Yeah. They're down at the harbor though.
Yes.
What's your nicest boat?
Nicest boat. That would be the Hyperion.
The Hyperion. Is it
87 feet.
87 feet.
Pretty nice.
Staterooms,
Oh yes.
toilets flush,
Of course.
full bar.
You better believe it.
All right. Well, so what else do we need to talk about here? I mean, I'd like to get back out there, dishing up justice, shoveling down burgers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Status quo.
Let's talk about the rate at which you solve crimes versus the rate of incarceration.
Okay. Well, I think it's fair to say that, your rate of solving is necessarily going to be higher than your rate of incarceration because you cannot put someone in jail until you have made a pretty good case against them. So
I think that's fair.
we certainly solve a lot of cases.
Okay, the reports indicate that to be not a true statement.
Well, where are you getting these reports? I mean, our reports are going to say that we solved the case. We're going to indicate who we believe is the perpetrator. And, the suits, the uniforms can go pick them up. I mean, we don't have to always be the one slapping the cuffs on.
Right.
We're not trying to be in the media spotlight. We're not trying to get a book deal. We're not trying to get a cable access show. We're not Judge Judy.
Well, your reports are not always correct.
Well, give me an example, because again, I don't always, once I write the report, I do a cleanse, do a burger cleanse.
There are literally dozens, maybe 100 here, of reports that you indicate the perpetrator, the culprit, and it turns out that person does not exist or has been dead for a decade. And I'm curious whether this is just confusion that takes place on the job, or possibly burger hunger confusion, or if this is something else, something deeper.
Well, I think it's probably miscommunication.
Mhm.
I mean, I personally, I like to write out my reports by hand,
Mhm.
and then I send them down to the transcriptionist, and then
Sure.
they bring it to the chief. So,
Maybe
somewhere in that mix
in there.
between the
Okay.
3 or 4 parties involved. and,
Okay.
maybe it's possible that Jane Smith becomes Gene Smith, and you
Sure.
look up Gene Smith, and Gene's dead, but
Right.
Jane,
Okay.
is still out there.
We can do some follow up on that.
That would be good. Okay. Let's talk about some of the good stuff. I mean, we brought Stephen back into the fold. He's enrolled in community school.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a little, intro to psychology, American history, astrology.
Right.
You know, the basic stuff. He's going to go to police academy. So,
Is that correct?
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
indicated, okay.
Yeah.
He still seems to be doing rocks, is that correct? To the best of your knowledge.
Well, me and Hayes aren't, you know, quadruple doctors or even single doctors.
Sure.
We're more associates
Mm-hmm.
of knowledge. But I felt like between asking him to give up the girls and the booze and not to gamble, you know, the rocks could wait. The
Okay.
rocks was the fixation. So once he gets rid of everything else in his life, but the rocks, then he can chip away at rocks.
Okay.
So I don't know, you know, if he's on a, you know, medication or where he's at with that. But I do know he means to be off of rocks completely by the time he goes to police academy.
Okay. That's good news. For future reference, that's terrible advice.
Oh.
He should have begun with rocks and then worked his way down, considering the high rates of mortality tied to rocks and their use.
Well, his tolerance seems to be pretty high.
I'm sure that it is.
I mean, have you ever seen him when he's on rocks?
The whole city has, yes.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
broke into that newscast.
Yeah, that's true. He does like to streak and photobomb.
Right. I will say he's quite good at it, but that's why we need to tackle this. He can be
Yeah.
great at doing rocks. That doesn't mean rocks are great for him. You understand that?
He's one of the finest cooks of rocks. You know, I hope that once he's on the force, establishes himself, you know, that he can maybe put that to use. You know, you can
Cooking
tell by
rocks.
yeah. Well, I mean, when he's helping to examine the rocks, you can probably figure out who cooked the rocks, where they were cooked, what temperature, how many minutes.
Well, we have technicians and labs devoted to that.
Yeah, but I mean, how long does it take? If I give you some rocks to examine, how long am I going to have to wait to get that back from the lab, you know?
3 to 5 hours.
Right. Well, I think that Steven can handle it in about 15 minutes. He can just smell the rocks, you know, and just know who made them.
We have no way of verifying whether that will be sufficient.
Right, but that's for all the eggheads back at the station, you know. He's going to be out there in the field, eating burgers,
Well,
shooting suspects if necessary, to further justice.
if he makes it to the field, he would need to give up his
Well, I mean,
rocks.
his dad is the mayor, so he's going to make it to the field. You understand that? Powerful father, white privilege.
I'm not
Double
sure
shot?
what you're getting at.
No, of course not. Of course. We both know that nobody knows what white privilege is. But we know it when we see it, don't we?
Sure.
You see it when you look at Steven. You see it when you look in the mirror. You know. You know you can feel it then, right?
I think this has been very helpful. I'll make some notes and pass the files on to the chief.
Alright. Thanks, Doc. You go get a burger.
I'm sorry. Valuable. Okay, I'm sorry. You'll lose it. Roll out the barrel. Fucking idiots. Oh, you know, roll out the barrel. It makes no sense. Fucking idiots. Jesus, going on about oh, God blimey, going on. There's more to me than this. There's more, a lot more to me than how's your father and up the apples and pears. There's a lot more to it. It's deep history to this. It's very well respected, but you all think it's just love a duck. It ain't all love a duck. There's a lot more to it. Oh my God, fucking hell! I'm gonna be down in Albert Square. You don't even know where Albert Square is. You haven't seen EastEnders. You don't know nothing about British soap operas. Cool, fucking hell.
Let the record show that Detective Hayes has not attended the mandatory meeting. The time now is 5:45.
I'm a man of constant sorrow. I'm in trouble all my life.
What's your name, man?
My name's Glenn.
2 N's or 1?
2. They wanted him, but they didn't want me. I ran like the Dickens and hid in an alley. He lay there dead. Then I went to go get a rock. And I found a garage in an alley, an abandoned garage, to smoke my rock. And then I was getting high, and then a skunk came up to me. He came in the garage. He must have lived there. And then I turned to the skunk and said, "Hey, if you don't mind the smell, neither do I." It's all Shakespearean. You have your villain. You have your downtrodden hero.
the station. I think Detective Hayes has been framed. Stephen's been murdered. I found rocks. I found 20 grand in cash. I found a note from Detective Hayes telling Stephen to meet him. That's not all, Chief. I found him. I found Stephen. He's at the beach. He's dead. He's dead, Chief. Detective Hayes left his badge, his gun, and his aviators. I have reason to believe he was abducted. If you're not at the docks by sunrise, I'm going after him. I hope I'll see you there.
Hayes, did you do this? Did you kill Stephen? Dr. Lee? Dr. Lee? Dr. Lee? Dr. Lee? Blah, blah, blah. Misconduct. Suspect got away. Burgers.
If you're out there, stay hidden. I think Dr. Lee and the chief are trying to frame you for Stephen's murder. Don't worry, I got rid of the evidence they planted. I broke into the good doctor's office. Place is a shithole. It's as bad as the safe house. There's some weird things going on there. I read our files. Things are looking pretty bad. They're coming for me next. The safe house is compromised. Meet me at the red door.
You remember the Herald building? 135,000 cash?
Yeah? I remember that.
Well, I got every dollar of that money split into 2 brown paper bags.
I want to get to whoever the fuck set me up before I leave. Because I'm going to prove my innocence. But before I do that, I'm going to fucking nail that motherfucker who got me. And I think I know who it was.
Dr. Lee!
Dr. Lee!
Detective Hayes.
Fucking shit show. I fucked your mom, I fucked your dad, now I'm gonna fuck you.
Wait.
Fuck you.
The week before last, he starts sending frantic, crazy messages to his wife. We went out shopping, and she just got a whole lot of messages saying, over my dead body. I didn't know he'd come for me through Steven. I didn't know he would set me up. I didn't know he would go this far. I'm out. I'll see you there, man. I gotta go.
Wait, Hayes!
Dr. Lee had it out for you too hard. And of course he had it out for me.